I'm going to make a mask. I've got this lovely fabric. It's an African wax print fabric. Traditionally it's worn by women in Africa, and the different patterns and markings can signify their particular status, marriage status, or tribe, or social status. It's kind of a form of non-verbal communication, which I think is really appropriate for mask making as well. Anyway, if you get a china plate, dinner plate size, and put it on the fabric. I'm going to put it here so I don't want to waste any of my lovely fabric. And what I'm going to do is cut around the plate so I can end up with a circle. So I've got my circle shape, a nice round shape. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle when you've cut it out, but you can then make it a more even circle by folding it over one way and then the other way in half again, so that you get this pie shape. And from here you can even up your circle with your scissors, just like that, cutting round to make it nice and even. Don't want to take too much of the fabric off, because you're going to need probably as much fabric as you can to make your mask. So now you've got a nice even pie shape, and that's kind of what's important. From here we'll snip in half our circle in the diagonal, just like that. So we hold the pie up like this and we cut across. And now you're going to cut across again, and again. So what you should have now is 4 pieces of fabric, all the same size. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So with our 2 fabric fronts facing each other, just make sure it's nice and even, we're going to sew along this moon shape here, so the bottom. And I wouldn't be that worried about what stitches you do. Of course, you can run this along in the sewing machine and then you've got a face mask rather quickly, but the benefit to doing it by hand is that you can just take it with you where you're going, like if you're on the bus or the train, or you're sitting in the passenger seat of the car. You can make some masks. Probably what you want to do is, before you leave the house, cut out your fabric, and so all you're doing in the car or the train or the bus is the sewing bit. And so the thing with the sewing is to make sure that the stitches are rather close together, because if they're not, then you'll have some holes in your mask, which isn't good. So usually what I do is I do a running stitch along the bottom, and then I run along again the other way, so that I've got some, quite tiny stitches. So I've sewed along and completely closed the bottom end of the fabric. So then if you turn it out, you'll see that you already have the beginnings of your mask formed. So you've got this bit, and how it works is This bit goes over your nose and kind of looks like a beak at the moment. This one is for my son, so I made it a little bit bigger than I would make it for myself. So we're going to take our 2 beaks, so fold them over with the stitches on the inside and just put them together like this, so that you can make sure you 2 sides can fit into each other. And if you open up one, then take the other one, fold it inside out so that the stitches are facing out. Put the top one with the stitches facing out and the bottom one with the stitches facing in, and place one on top of the other. Secure it so that the inside is taut. And now we're going to finish our masks up by stitching around the whole thing. The only thing we'll leave out is about 2 inches on the corner, and this is so that we can turn the mask inside out. So stitch from here all the way around. You can get a nice bit of long string back to the corner and leave about a 2-inch gap with no stitching, and this is so we can turn it inside out. Round and round the earth is turning always round to morning, and from morning round to night. So I've sewed around the length of the fabric all the way around, and I've left about a 2-inch gap in the corner, and I'm just going to tie off my thread here with a little knot. I'm going to do it twice to keep it secure. And now I've got my mask made, really, and I want to turn it inside out, so I'm just going to push the fabric through very gently, pushing it through the hole. So in this way, it's kind of a push and a pull to get the fabric through. And then I love doing this bit, giving it a good shake. And that really makes sure that you've got all of the fabric through. Yeah. So now I'm going to find the ends of my masks. Here we go. We've got one end. You see the corner is still a bit tucked in, so I'm just going to untuck it. So I've untucked that corner. Now I'm going to untuck the other corner, and this is the corner where it's not completely stitched up. There's still a hole there, and that's the bit that I'm now going to stitch up. And to make it neat, I usually do a blanket stitch here. And you're going to open up your mask and place the elastic just in the corner, like so. Fold it like this, so you see a little triangle. And then you're going to sew the triangle onto the fabric. We'll get our needle, the elastic on. See? We'll just make a little tie, a little knot. You might want to check out the size on the person's face first, if you know who you're making it for, to see that it fits comfortably around the ear. And that will inform just where you place your knot, how far down. And we'll do the other side. And all done. Got a little mask. This one's for my daughter, who's smaller than me, so it's a little small for me. It's not so comfortable around the chin, so you can make them different sizes. Here's a bigger one, or my size. But on this one, because I'm making it for my auntie, I didn't tie the elastic cord. I just left it open. So I'm sending it in the post and she can just tie it herself. And always use a cotton that you can wash in high temperatures. Just basically any cotton. Pure cotton would do, and it's quite a good idea because it's breathable. You can also use silk, which is also fine, and wool. I tend to try not to use polyester fabrics if I don't need to.